Rebecca, thank you so much for having me in your studio in Marseille. How did you come to be in this city?
I started having the idea of moving to Marseille 4 years ago. After traveling 12 years, I left France really when I was 18, and I was abroad for 12 years in many different places. I didn't think I would like it so much, to be honest. I guess because it's this big harbor and the whole story of Marseille is like so many immigrations and migrations and everything that it keeps this flow.
When we arrived in the studio, you had the window open and you were talking about how the sound of the children reminded you of when you were a child.
My father migrated to Morocco in 1936 and my grandmother opened the first art school in Rabat. So she was a painter, but then she never really had a career as a painter herself, but she was very dedicated in teaching. She would make us draw like what was in the studio, so like chairs and like a lot of nature morte.
In these pieces, we've got all of the women holding wine.
The show is called Together Separated. I don't like art fairs, and it's like social anxiety you can get. And I just like thought about it, like how do we get out of this social anxiety? A lot of people then just drink or like do whatever, and then it's like how we manage ourselves, like being in a group and having to interact and not knowing, and just like how we feel about it and everything.
This painting, for example, I mean, she really reminds me of a friend of mine. The way she's looking at me, the way she's holding the wine, of a conversation that I would have had with a friend. What it is that you're trying to portray, is it an emotion?
I'm not gonna fall in love with a piece of art because of the technique. For me, it's really emotional. Can I spend like a few hours in front of that painting? So my painting, that's how I feel like they're never finished until I can sit in front of them and I really feel something.
So that brings me to the next question, which is color, because I think you then amplify that emotion.
I work with oil. It's almost like a sculpture for me working with oil because you start with layers that are so thin and the colors are like not coming out at all.
So you're not doing preparatory sketches?
No, not at all. For me, the colors is very instinctive, you know?
You love the color green. Why is that?
The color green is the one with the most shades. Green goes into brown, into yellow, into red. Like it's never ending.
I think a lot of your work really comes from just really deep observation.
My paintings, they're really like, it's a mix of everybody that surrounds me. As I said, whenever I sit on public transport or wherever I am, like I'm really like staring at people. It's just like, a collection of things I have in my mind and then it comes out. They do look all similar in a way. So a lot of people are asking me if it's like a portrait of myself that I just do over and over again.
The work that you've made, it seems to have some sort of connection with the school of Diego Rivera and Kahlo.
I've never been to Mexico, so I cannot tell, but I think from what I see, like in Morocco, you find a bit the same kind of, you have the same, this blue and this red, and I feel like they're a bit similar to some colors in Morocco.
Your paintings are kind of a little bit acultural. You allow us into that moment you don't put any cultural barriers. They're very open and very accessible.
For me, like it's important that any viewer is able to like imagine or whatever he wants. They're not real and I'm not trying to make them real. Also my background, everything is not very defined and I'm not trying to define anything. I don't really like, for example, to have big description of the painting because I feel like it's blocking the viewers, and for me, everybody can have his own interpretation and own feeling and own, story. There's a sort of in you, but also in your paintings, because, for me, there is a generosity of spirit in your work, both in its perception, but also in its making. I try to turn the negative into positive, and I try to always be positive as much as I can. So I think that's what I reflect in my painting, that trying to cross all boundaries and just like opening up